Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Shout out to all the fellow human beings out there. Thank you for tuning in to the Viewturistic YouTube channel. Today we're out here in beautiful Red Rock Canyon in Las Vegas, getting our hike on, doing some mountain climbing. Adrenaline is definitely pumping because about 10-15 minutes ago, I picked up a rock and there was a scorpion under there. It's crazy shit. But nonetheless, here we go. Today's topic is the views and don'ts of being a single dad. So to start that off, I just want to talk about my beginning stages, my beginning experience of being a dad, from the jump. My son is 2.5 years old now, and before he was even born, being a dad was the last thing on my mind. I never really wanted to be a parent before he was born. I mean, I flirted with the idea of it. However, the scale was a lot more tipped towards not being a parent versus being a parent. But when I found out I was having a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I freaked out at first, and I lost my mind. But after I grasped the idea and got comfortable with the idea that I was gonna be a dad, it actually turned out to be one of the best things that has ever happened to me, because my son now, he is my motivation for every single thing that I do. The sacrifices that I make, all the sacrifices that I make are for him. Now, when I started out as a dad, I wasn't a single dad. I was in a marriage. But as of about a year, it's almost been a year, I've been pretty much living as a single dad, taking care of my son, on my own. Not on my own. I do get help from people. His mom is still in his life. My parents help out a lot. My brother helps out a lot. I do get a lot of help. But nonetheless, I'm a single dad. And along with that comes a lot of sacrifices, because the last thing that I want to do is be a deadbeat dad to my son. I want to make sure that when my son grows up, he does not look back and say my dad wasn't there, or I didn't learn this because my dad wasn't around, or even the idea of letting another man come into my son's life and taking the place of me. I'm not going to let that happen, because no matter what, I'm always going to be there for my son. So the first thing that I want to talk about are the sacrifice. And I'm sorry about that. It was like just this big jungle bee that just flew past, and another encounter with death. But I want to talk about the sacrifices that do come along with being a single dad. Now, it's not easy at all. It's not the toughest thing in the world, but it's definitely not the easiest thing in the world, especially because of the lifestyle that I was living before I actually had a son. I mean, I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. My DJ career, I was out DJing all night. I got to hang out as long as I wanted to, whatever. If I just wanted to up and leave, I could do that. However, now that I'm a single dad, I definitely can't do that, because I need to be where my son is. And the sacrifices that I make usually come along with giving up a lot of my personal life. Of course, I mean, I live in Las Vegas now, so what better way for me to have fun than to just be able to get off of work, go hit the strip, go to the club, do whatever it is that I want to do. But I know that I can't do that because I have to spend time with my son. And deadbeat dad, I think, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but this is the way I see it. This is the truth. A deadbeat dad would just go and do whatever it is that they want to do, regardless of having to spend that time with their kid. They think of themselves first and their kids' well-being second. There's dads like that, there's moms like that. However, that's not how I do things. No matter if it comes to me getting a job, no matter if it comes to opportunities that I get, no matter if it comes to me having a well-defined social life, every single thing that I do, I make sure that I put his well-being first. So for example, on the weekends, I typically have my son every single weekend, and that's usually when most people go and hang out. So I often find myself in this dilemma of, do I want to go hang out and kick it, or do I want to spend time with my son? 95% of the time, I'm going to choose to spend time with my son, because those are the moments that I'll never be able to get back. Those are the moments that he's going to look back at when he gets older, when he goes through his adolescent stage, when he comes into an adult. Those are the things that he's going to think about when he has his own kid. He's going to be like, man, my dad, of course he wanted to probably go out and kick it and hang out and do whatever it is that he wanted to do, but he chose to stay at home with me to make sure that I developed into a man. And that's just my message to everyone, is make sure that you are aware of the sacrifices that you need to make in order to be there in your kid's life. It's gonna suck sometimes. I mean, that's the truth. Sometimes you're really gonna wish that you can have the freedom to just go kick it all the time, or you could just up and move to another state, or up and do whatever it is that you want to do. But when you have the well-being of your kid first, then those things just can't happen. Even with with my profession, what I do on a professional level, like my day job, aside from making these videos and the other things that I'm passionate about, I work at a college, and typically to get promotions in that system, I mean, there's colleges in every single state, almost every city in the country, so there's a lot of opportunities for me to move around. However, it's not just that easy for me to do that, and once again, those are the sacrifices that I have to make for my son. A big reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that he reciprocates what he's getting now when he actually becomes a father on his own, if he does decide to have kids. I don't want there to be any room for excuses when he becomes a father to say, hey, well, my dad wasn't there, so I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. There's going to be no room for excuses for him to say that, because I do every single thing that I can do to make sure I'm involved in his life. Even though that his mom and we aren't together anymore, I mean, that's another thing that I could see how that could be an obstacle for some dads out there when they don't necessarily get along with the child's mother, or they just have a dislike for the child's mother, or the child's mother has a dislike for them. They would rather just not deal with the whole situation, and as a result of that, they're not in their kid's life. Me, on the other hand, I don't give a fuck. Excuse my language, but I don't care if she hated me more than anybody else in this world. I don't care if I hated her more than anybody else in this world. I'm going to make sure that I'm there for my kid, because that's what it's about. It has nothing to do with me and her relationship anymore. It's more about me and his relationship. I know I definitely could get into a lot more details about this, but that's what our comment box is for. So if you do have any comments, please do not hesitate to leave some comments below. If you want to further discuss anything that I talked about, you can comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe our page. Keep sending those comments. Keep sending those emails to our email. It's jacob.joshua8488@gmail.com. So if you have any more questions that you want to talk about, if you have any future topics that you would like to see us talk about, send those emails through. We'll make sure we'll do a video about it. That's pretty much it. What we have to talk about, the views and don'ts of being a single dad. The main message was just being there for your kid no matter what. Do not let anyone, no one, deter you from being in your kid's life, because I promise you that your kid is going to remember that when they grow up, and that's where the payoff comes. Until next time, keep viewing what you're viewing. If you can view it, you can do it, and we out of here. Peace.